Hey everyone, Sean Ash here on this week's version of Outside the Forecast. We are going to focus on what's been a very active severe weather season in Indiana and a good portion of the Ohio Valley. Before I get to that, I want to kind of give you a gauge of where we normally would be for an entire year for the entire state of Indiana, 22 tornadoes. The most we've ever had in one year was set back in 2011. That was 72, and the most in one day, 37, June 2nd of 1990. So 22 tornadoes is our average per year. This year so far to date of recording, 57. The majority of which have been in the EF1 range. We've had 10 EF2s and we've had 20 EF0s. So you can see there's been a couple of different focal points depending on the dates. But we had, you can see there along the I-70 corridor, a lot of tornadoes in south central Indiana, but really everywhere in the state so far has been active. Again, that's through the 26th of June so far. We look back about the last 10 or so years and look at the last 3 years, 57 to date here in 2025. That's what we had for all of 2024. We had over 50 tornadoes in the state back in 2023. So we are definitely in an active cycle compared to average, which again is 22. And there's the most on record set back in 2011. So we'll dive into a couple of different events. We had a couple of events in March, but April 2nd of this year was a big tornado day for us, unfortunately. And again, you can see the concentration where we had along the I-70 corridor. We also had down over southwest Indiana. Again, the majority of these, 15 of the 22, were in the EF1 range, but we did have multiple EF2 tornadoes, one in Hendricks County, and then we also had in Delaware County that got into the eastern portion of Madison County. So April 2nd of this year, 22 tornadoes. That ranks very highly historically in terms of big tornado days. You can see March 31st of 2023, just a couple years ago, also on this list. You see a couple of dates there from 2011. In fact, if you take April 19th and May 25th from 2011, that was the bulk, large portion of the tornadoes that particular year. So April 2nd, 2025, if some of these are running together this year, that was the EF2 that hit the shop over there in Brownsburg. And this is what drone video looked like. A couple of tornadoes that actually were in Hendricks County, but that particular one was a long tracker that went from the site there, crossed over Eagle Creek, and finished it crossed over I-65 as well. It was the same cell that produced this tornado in Carmel, and this was captured by Andrew Snyder. Did some damage there through parts of Hamilton County. We fast forward to another big tornado day. This is from May 16th of this year. And we had another long track tornado. We actually had the same cell that produced multiple tornadoes. Unfortunately, did claim a life in Greene County. That was the one that went through Linton. It also crossed through Monroe County, Brown County, and through parts of Bartholomew County as well, ended just to the west of I-65. And then we had another tornado that was over in Ripley County here. But again, that was a long tracker, and it was a pretty significant tornado. I'll show you some of the radar imagery here momentarily, but this is what it looked like from the Monroe County Airport looking south. And they captured this thing on their camera as it moved through. And this is a different vantage point from the same tornado from Jordan Stackhouse. And as we examine some of the radar imagery that was really catching our attention, we don't see supercells in terms of radar presentation like this often here in Indiana. But this is a full-fledged supercell. We talked about the tornadoes, but this also had destructive hail with it. And then that is what we call a debris ball. Literally the radar detecting debris in that ball signature there. Most of that was trees as it was cutting a path through Brown County, and satellite imagery from May 15th compared to May 18th, where you can actually see the scar of that tornado here. And I want to show you some video that DNR captured with their drone. I mentioned a lot of that on that debris ball signature was trees, and this is what it looked like. Flattening the forest in sections here, and just leveling. And this was a very wide tornado, very impressive tornado from a radar perspective, but also from video perspective as well. And you can see just how it carved that path through Brown County, knocking over all those trees here. So thankfully, out of all the action we've had, there's been very minimal injuries sustained, and again, we've had one fatality, which is too many, but this could have been a heck of a lot worse, because this is when the tornado was maximized as it was cutting through Brown County. So we go from that, and then we'll show you we transitioned, and now we're kind of getting into a pattern conducive of summertime flooding. And this is a picture from the morning of Saturday, June 14th. I was working that morning in this particular area of Howard County, 6 to 8 inches of rainfall in just a matter of hours. And folks there saying some of the worst flooding that they've had in over 20 years. And so we're going to kind of switch into that type of pattern. June 15th wasn't a big tornado day, but it was a big wind day, big one. These are all the wind reports. Had a couple of weak tornadoes that were confirmed out of this, but we had some big time wind. Just 4 miles northwest of Ball State University, a 79-mile-per-hour gust. Throughout Marion County, we had multiple 70-plus mile-per-hour gusts. You can see all these damage reports. At its peak in terms of power outages, this particular event brought nearly 250,000 outages in the state. We had a lot of numerous big trees down. This is on Delaware Street around 20th, 21st there. A lot of trees flattened. We had some corn damage on the west central part of the state as well. So we have transitioned into more of a summertime situation, and heat is becoming a big story for us as we move forward. We will probably still have some severe weather days, but I will be A-okay if we don't have another tornado for the rest of the year. But we know tornadoes can happen anytime, and we still have to get into our fall severe weather season as well. We appreciate you tuning in here for Outside the Forecast. Stay with us for more in the weeks ahead.